but it comes around the corner straight, and then I know that you'll get what you deserve.
What up, what up, what up? Dagic here. Development update for Rocco, Scrounger, Pauper, EDH. As always, deck list is in the link or the QR code. This will be just a quick one. We played some games past week, made some changes. Want to talk about them, see if I can get some comments, some thoughts. You know, a lot of cards in Pauper, so I'm not going to pretend like I know everything or if what I'm doing even makes sense, but here we go. Let's get into it right quick. Alright, so these are the cards that I'm probably going to end up cutting, or that have been cut in some capacity or the other. Masked Vandal, Battle Hymn, Rodeo Pyromancers, Burning Tree Emissary, Elvish Visionary, Spirited Companion, Loran's Escape, Blacksmith Skill, Basking Root Walla, First Day of Class, and 1 Plains. Alright, so I was feeling like I added Conduit Pylons, right, to add a little bit of a desert sort of sub-theme. And that would put me at 31 lands. And I don't think I need 31 lands. The average mana cost of the deck is 1 and some change, right? Because a lot of our higher cost stuff, like the Eidolons and whatever, they don't really get cast, right? I treat them as zeros. You can treat them as 4s if you want like a technically correct answer, but I have them in my math as zeros because they're not for casting. Other stuff like Whiteout also not for casting. So we end up with a very low average CMC. It's like all 1 mana ramp, 2 mana loot spells. So I didn't think we needed 31 lands, so I dropped it to 30. Opened up a slot. Masked Vandal is a good card. Obviously, I'm not going to pretend like I don't like it. The problem is I can't guarantee that there's a creature in my yard. And if there's no creature, it's just a dead card. It's just a 1/3 shapeshifter. It's not any good. As for Battle Hymn is one of our best rituals, but if you goldfish the combo, you'll find out that you end up with like 30 mana and a handful of cards. So this is the version we're testing. These are the changes that we're testing. I don't think I need Battle Hymn. It's conditional, right? So I can't really play it to like set up. It's only really good during the combo, as opposed to Infernal Plunge and Rite of Flame and those ones that can be used to get us there. Battle Hymn is more of just a combo, like a combo card. And we already have a ton of just combo cards in the deck, so we're going to try cutting Battle Hymn, see if we can still generate the requisite mana. Rodeo Pyromancers was only in for a short while. I still like it. It's a 4-drop, which isn't fantastic, and it's really good if you can get it out on turn 3. If you can cast it on 3, then it's fine. Or even ramp into it on 2, then it really generates a ton of mana. It's just not a good draw past turn 4 or 5. And we already have a lot of dead draws in the deck. Every time you draw an Eidolon in the mid game, it's a dead draw or a land or sometimes a ritual, right? So I'm dropping it to try and limit the number of dead draws. But I do want to stress that I do like the card. Okay. Burning Tree Emissary, similar to Battle Hymn, we end up with too many cards. So I think we can cut some of these chain pieces, keep the Eidolon package, and still be fine. I'm not sure, not positive, but I think. And in goldfishing, it seems to be fine. I just don't know how it'll play. How it'll play in the real world, in actuality. Elvish Visionary and Spirited Companion fill the same spot. They are just cantrips. They're similar, again, to Burning Tree Emissaries. They're nothing cards, which is fine, but at 2 mana, it's a lot. Can I find more action? Can I fit in more action and cut the cantrips, right? If I'm trying to cantrip for action, can't I just run an action spell? Is the logic, anyway. I don't need the extra bodies because I'm cutting Battle Hymn. So there's no upside to just playing cantrip bodies, other than to keep the card velocity up, which is a concern, but I think if I can fit in more action, that's sort of the theme here. I'm trying to fit in more action in the deck, more live draws, so that you're not just there, you're not just stuck. If if you kind of stall out, right? If you get a good hand, right, none of this matters, right? This whole conversation is moot. Um, but if you have a medium hand, or like you do some stuff and you run into some interaction, then you can, then you start top decking Elvish Visionaries, like, ugh. And then you play an Elvish Visionary and you draw a land. And that was just a really bad turn. Loran's Escape and Blacksmith Skills are also really good cards. The issue is I'm trying to limit the number of white mana spells. And Loran's Escape and Blacksmith Skill fit in a sort of a package where we had 9 cards that did this effect, hexproof and indestructible, to protect our combo pieces. But again, they're dead draws. They're dead if you're not ready to combo off. They don't get you there. They don't help move the game along. You draw a Blacksmith Skill. You need some action, and then you pass the turn because that card did nothing for you then. Basking Rootwalla. You're noticing a theme. Basking Rootwalla is like a super good card. It makes perfect sense if you're discarding through your deck. A free 1/1. Cool. But, like, it's just cool. It's not good. We don't have black. We're not dread returning. We don't need free bodies. He's not going to attack or threaten anybody. He might chump block, but, if we're comboing, we don't care about chump blockers, right? Like, if you Tormenting Voice on 2 and discard a Rootwalla, that's pretty good. But it's not really good. It's just, like, cool. Like, nice. You turn a discard into a 1/1. Sweet. It's not, like, gonna win the game. It's not gonna, like, apply pressure. It's not gonna make anybody, like, whoa, stop and think. First day of class, cut Haste Enabler. This is a different logic, right? First day of class it's bleh. There's combos with first day of class that we're not running, obviously, and I kept it in as a Haste Enabler because it had learned, so it kept the velocity up. But it's still card negative, where Tormenting Voice, Cathartic Reunion, they're all card neutral, right? Even Elvish Visionary and Spirited Companion are at least card neutral. First day of class is card negative. There's a 2-mana Haste Enabler, which is 1 more mana or 2 more mana than some of our Haste Enablers, and it's just meh. Unless you're running Thermopod and Persist Creatures, or even it's like Chatterstorm or Empty the Warrens, right? First day of class is pretty cool, but we're not. So I don't like cutting a Haste Enabler because I like them. I think they serve a good purpose, and you need a certain number of them, but I don't think first day of class is the one, unless you're getting more out of it. I think you need more, because just a +1/+1 counter on anything in our deck is, again, it's cool. It's like Basking Rootwalla. It's like, yay, but is it going to help us win? No, not really, no. And we covered the planes already. So those are the 11 changes. It's kind of a lot. I don't like making, like, major changes, but I went pretty deep on this one, just because there were a lot of cards that fit the same sort of, like, this is a dead draw. This card is like Battle Hymn is win more. Rodeo Pyromancer is a dead draw in the mid game. Burning Tree Emissaries kind of win more. Basking Rootwalla is cool. Blacksmith Skills, Loran's Escape, but it's just like extra. It's just a lot of extra that I wanted to replace with some action. Okay, because we played a couple games this week, and we were missing some pieces. Right? Missing some pieces. All right, we're going to touch on sort of those pieces. These are the additions, right? We're going to add some 3-mana ramp. Okay, so non-creature ramp. Kadama's Reach and Cultivate are the same card, basically, and it replaces itself. It's kind of a cantrip, so it sort of replaces, as far as the deck is concerned, it cantrips. It replaces itself with a land in hand, and it ramps us 3. So if you go, creature on 1, reach on 3, like, you're good. That's good. You got, what, or reach on 2. Yeah, you got like 5 mana on turn 3. Plus you definitely have a land in hand. You're going to make your land drop. It's beautiful. And it's not a creature, so you don't have to worry about sweepers. And then for the rest of these, we're sort of looking to have cards that are alive. Live cards. We replaced a lot of dead cards with a lot of cards that are usually alive. Ardent Elementalist is an interesting one. We have a lot of decent sorceries, metamorphosis, or rituals, or draw spells even. Um, it gets them back from the graveyard. That's it. That's the idea. You can cast a metamorphosis to do something, and then you can potentially get it back. Right? We didn't have that option until just now, right? Because you had to wait till a reclaim, right? And you'd have to like upkeep it or end step it, and you don't really want to be burning your reclaim to get back a metamorphosis. Yeah, reclaim was reclaim. Reclaim has to be hit in action. Like you want reclaim to be like getting you a key piece to keep you alive or to win the game. Ephemerate pairs well with Ardent Elementalist. It lets you get like one bounce a turn for one white, right? So you ephemerate the ephemerate comes off of rebound, targets the Elementalist, flickers the Elementalist, puts the ephemerate back in hand. Then you cast ephemerate to bounce something else with an ETB or something else that'll do you some good. And ephemerate is back on rebound. And every turn you get to do that. You'll get a free, you get a one in white bounce every turn with that little. So it's a little bit of value. And ephemerate is just a good top deck, right? We have a certain number of ETBs, not a ton, but like a certain number of decent ETBs. We also have a problem where if you get interacted with when you play Hanger Scrounger, you have to kill the Scrounger and then get it back, or white main line it back. You have to get it back in your hand because you can't just recast the Seeker and combo off. It has to go Seeker then Scrounger. So we had to fit in a couple of ways to do that because we were light. We had Horned Kavu, and that was it. So you'd have to sacrifice your Scrounger and reclaim it, or sacrifice it, recommission it, etc., etc. And your Seeker is theoretically already in the graveyard, so you got to reanimate two pieces. We needed more of that effect. To that end, Icewind Stalwart is another ETB. It flickers. This is the only creature that flickers, right? And we went with a creature because of Rocco. So Rocco will be able to find Icewind Stalwart to flicker a Hanger Scrounger, ideally, or anything else. You can get the Monarch back, you can get the Initiative back, etc., etc. White main line has Flash, so it's pretty good. It's Horned Kavu with Flash. That's pretty much it. It's just another of those bounce effects, so that we can, one-step it with Hanger Scrounger instead of two-step it. You can also rebuy your Rocco. All three of these you can, technically speaking, rebuy Rocco with. Like a flicker effect, you exile it, you can put it in the command zone. It won't come back, but technically speaking, these can all rebuy Rocco. So they replace I forgot. They replace the. I guess we didn't cut any rebuy effects. But they can also double as protection, so they can sort of replace Loran's Escape and Blacksmith's Skill. So your Seeker doesn't end up in the graveyard. Maybe it ends up in your hand. Things like that. Like if somebody plays like if you're not ready to combo off and somebody plays like a Crypt Rats, right? You can bounce the Seeker back to your hand to protect it and wait and set up for a later turn. Reckless Abandon, Collateral Damage, Sacrificing Creature. The games that I played this week, I ran into a problem where I couldn't get rid of my own Rocco, right? Nobody's going to block it, right? Nobody even attacks into me if I have an untapped Rocco, unless they have like flying and evasion and whatnot. So I needed to increase the number of sacrifice effects. I added Reckless Abandon, Collateral Damage because they also double as removal, which the deck is super duper light on, especially if we cut Loran's Escape and Blacksmith Skills, which can double as interaction if we want to like counter an aura or something. Reckless Abandon and Collateral Damage replace them directly in the interaction field, but also afford us the opportunity to rebuy Rocco. Thornthrash Viashino is a cool card that I didn't know existed. I don't know if it's good. This is like a really deep test right here. But for 4 mana, we get Devour 2 on a 2/2 that we can give to Trample. Right, so I've been talking a little bit about adding like a mid-range game plan, sort of a way to get like some threatening bodies on the board. And we play a decent number of like early game creatures that become less relevant as the game goes on. So if you say Rocco for Wirewood Herald, right? Wirewood Herald is out there. You do that on like 3 or 4, right? You get a Wirewood Herald. You gotta get both of them off the battlefield to get any effect out of it. If you follow that up with a Thornthrash Viashino on 4, you get a 6/6. You get Rocco in the command zone, and you get your Seeker in your hand. Like it's pretty insane as a setup piece. Um, and you don't have to like risk it. Thornthrash Viashino isn't. It's not like a cast trigger. You don't have to risk sacking your creatures and getting nothing for them because it enters the battlefield. So if it's going to resolve, then you get to sacrifice your creatures. You get a 6/6. Right, and now you can pressure the board, right? I mean, a 6/6 trample, maybe an 8/8, maybe a 10/10, depending on what you're doing. Like, somebody's going to have to target that, probably, eventually, right? But that's sort of the theme. That's sort of the axis we're attacking, right? There's a lot of cards in Pauper EDH that have to be answered. Your Gretchens, your Dargos, a lot of stuff, and an almost vanilla 6/6 or 8/8 is not one of them, right? So if people say, okay, well, I can't interact with that because I have to save my interaction. Like, you might just get an 8/8 or 6/6 with trample, right? Because the resources aren't there to interact with everything. You have to pick and choose, and French vanilla 6/6 is not the one. And the last two are some value critters at 4 again. Crimson Fleet Commodore is Monarch with trample. Stirring Bard is a 0/4 defender that gives initiative and can give haste, so they both have some upside. The Commodore and the Viashino can help you get the Monarch back. They have trample, right? That's their idea. That's the plan there. You can use them if they don't get killed, right? You can flicker the Commodore to steal the Monarch back, or you can attack. They have trample. They're tough to chump block. And the Bard is a good blocker. Can keep the initiative. It can also give haste. So we replaced our haste enabler that we cut in first day of class with another one that offers more upside, right? We get out, we get to go get a land. Then we get a little bit of value every turn. So those are the 11 changes. You can see a dedicated effort to like, we added 4 4-drops. 4 4-drop creatures, and we cut a single 4-drop creature. And we cut a couple of 1/1s. We cut, 2 2s. We cut 6 creatures. The biggest one was a 3/4, and we added 5 creatures. I lied. 6 creatures. One's a 5/2. One can get huge. A 3/3. So there's a dedicated effort to be able to build a board outside of the combo. Just to apply some, not meaningless pressure, but some pressure, right? Because, a big thing in the format right now is pingers. There's pingers everywhere. Extort, gutter snipe effects. They're everywhere. So everybody's life total is dwindling slowly over time. And if you have 6/6 trample, like, that's somebody almost dead. Right? Like, I forced somebody to have to block my Rocco in one of the games this weekend because we were down to like 9. Because somebody had 2 pingers out. So I attacked the guy that was at 9. He had to block. He couldn't take the 4 from the Wirewood Herald and the Rocco, because then he'd be at like 5 or 4, and he's definitely going to die to the guy with pingers. And I was at like 11. I ended up dying too, so it's not like it was a game-winning play, but I just that little bit of pressure allowed me to change the games. And if I had more, could have changed it more. Or if I'd had it earlier, right? I ended up getting at like Cactarantula and Rocco and Wirewood Herald, but I couldn't really attack with the Cactarantula because I needed him to block. He's got reach. It was nice. But if I'd have got a couple more pieces earlier, I could have pressured the pinger guy too. But anyway, that's the idea. We're going to try and apply some pressure. We get a little bit of removal, a little more ramp, a little more pressure, a little more flicker, right? This is all action. Every card here is action. Whereas back here, this is not action. These Visionary Companion, not action. Burning Tree Emissary, Rodeo Pyromancer, Battle Hymn, not action. Basking Root Walla, first day class, Plains, not action. So we cut a lot of non-active pieces for a bunch of active pieces, like really active. Much better draws top to bottom for these new 11 cards. Now, there's some utility we might be losing, so this might not be 100% correct, but I think most of these changes are correct. Some of the cards might end up back in, right? Like the Thornthrash Viashino might be too cute. I admit that. That might be too cute. Might be a little deep. And what else? The Ardent Elementalist Ephemerate thing might be too deep. So we might have 3 spots. 3 of these cards might come back. Maybe Rodeo comes back. Maybe we get the protection spells back in because they're more active than the rest of this stuff. But You know, maybe we need the Burning Tree Emissary. I'm not sure yet, but I think we added it. We added a ton of action, and I like the way it looks. I like the way it plays. It feels nice with these better draws, top to bottom. Right, because we cut no combo pieces. Right, we cut some chain pieces, but we didn't cut any combo pieces. The deck still functions exactly the same. We've just got better ancillary draws. So those are the changes. This is development log number 1. We're probably going to do this pretty regularly, maybe weekly, or maybe just whenever, you know, we change 3 or 4 cards. But hit me in the comments on Moxfield or in the video. Let me know if any of this sounded stupid. Always up to hear some card recs, because I mean, there's like 6,000 possibilities. I don't know, maybe there's an angle I'm missing. I'm always looking for an angle. So yeah, let me know. Thanks for watching.
And I don't wanna go there, but I still went and went there.